You've obviously set the standards for, safety and your own guidelines that exceed everything else. But if there are people out there, again, that just can't have access right now to raw farm and but want to emulate that whole system, are there questions they could be asking of the farmer, of the owners of these places that'll get them a little bit closer to comfort of actually
Yes.
trying to get there?
Yes. Here are some key questions you would ask a farm. Go visit them, number one.
Yeah.
If a farm doesn't want to be visited, don't get that milk. You want a farm that you can trust and probably love. You want a farm you can really have a relationship with because you are asking them to provide you food at risk.
Mhm.
So go visit the farm. And what's the first impression of that place? Is that farm putting on a good stage for the consumer to come in that shows that they're clean, that they care, they're well organized, that they actually care about you, that you matter to them? Those are really important, just first impression relationship things. Then the other things is what do the cows look like? Now, you may not want to know what a healthy cow looks like or not, but if the cows are really skinny, they are not being fed well. If they don't get sunshine and maybe some pasture, and they don't get fed on off season with other feeds, and they're not looking so great, that may not be a place you want to go either.
Mhm.
You want to ask them, do you do any testing? It's a very fair question. What are your test results? What are your coliform numbers? Coliforms are a direct indicator of sanitation. And
Mhm.
a farm that's got a good act together is going to have a very low coliform count, less than 10. They may have a spike once in a while, that's fine, but they're always working to be less than 10. And they should be 1 to 2 to 3 all the time. How fast do they chill their milk? Do they let us sit around in a refrigerator and chill over 5 hours? Or do they chill it right away on ice with ice water? The faster you chill your milk, remember that bacteria counts in raw milk double every 20 minutes at body temperature. So you're going to have yogurt really quick. It's not going to taste very good. And that includes if the pathogen was present, that bacteria pathogen will grow like crazy too. So in order to keep pathogen levels low, by the way, a cow that's healthy does not produce pathogens. She does not have pathogens in her udder. And you clean the udder off completely, and there's no manure there. That's a very good place to get your milk. But you have to protect it from pathogens in the environment, wherever, because our bodies, especially in the city with antibiotics and preservatives, are not used to the farm pathogens, especially like Campylobacter and Salmonella. So we want to be protected from those pathogens, which we are probably going to have a reaction to and have diarrhea from, and we don't want that. And if you're a cancer survivor and immunocompromised or whatever, you can get really sick, and that's not fun. So we want to prepare that milk to serve the weakest of the consumers, not the strongest. And that means diligence, and you have to ask the questions. You might want to ask them, do you know anything about the Raw Milk Institute?
Mhm.
Most producers have heard of it. Some follow it, some are listed and certified by it. But we've set the bar, we've changed the standard of expectations because people have heard about it. They go, oh, that's the new competitive level. I better exceed that. I better do something because people are going to ask about it. So you want to go to somebody that intends their milk to be consumed by humans. Even if they're a pet food consumer, if they're diligent, they'll do these things for human consumption because they're ethical and they're moral. So you want to make sure you go to somebody that's not after the money, but they're after the relationship with the consumer and the consumer coming back and being happy. So it's a tall order. In California, that's kind of pre-structured for you, but we still embrace that consumer relationship. We have tours all the time where we talk to consumers all the time to educate them and also kind of consecrate that relationship between us and our consumers.
Yeah, it's a tall order, but it's a worthy effort, right?
Sure.
To know where your food comes from, to have a relationship with the person producing your food and getting it to your plate. We don't do that anymore. We have a really poor relationship. We have no clue what we're eating, actually,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Even when we
Exactly.
see the ingredients, which we trust that they're all listed there and nothing's left out, half of those ingredients, we don't even know what they are, right? When you talk about your farm and you know exactly every single ingredient because it's purely from nature. There really aren't ingredients. You are the ingredient that goes into other things.
Yeah.
And you don't just do milk, correct? You do raw butter, cheese, kefir, beef. Like, it's truly a comprehensive farm and offerings.
Yeah. We make whole milk in 3 or 4 different sizes, gallons, half gallons, quarts. We make cream, 40% buttermilk cream. We make butter in cultured and salted versions, two different kinds of butter. We make cheese, which is becoming world renowned now. It's one of the only, there's only a handful of truly raw cheddar cheeses in America
Yeah.
today. Most all of them, this is really important, Casper. Most
Yeah.
all of the raw cheeses made in America are thermalized,
Mm.
which means that they've been taken up just below pasteurization temperatures, but they're not technically pasteurized, but they've been completely annihilated in terms of biodiversity, enzymatic, and the whey proteins, all that's destroyed. But the FDA has allowed the producers to call it raw.
Hmm.
In my opinion, that's a fraud
Yeah.
because the bioactives are missing, the flavor's different. It's just a different food product. So we are truly raw being less than 100 degrees or less in all of our production processes. Now, there's a reason why these cheese producers go out and thermalize their milk. Well, you could go out and buy cheap milk that's got high bacteria counts out of the creamery process out there and bring it into your cheese vat. But when you add in the cultures to try to make the cheese, it doesn't work because you have too much background flora. Think of the milieu, think of the
Hmm.
background flora, right? It's too competitive. You don't know what you got. So what they got to do is kill all that bacteria off so that when they add in the cultures that are intentional, the cheddar cultures, they actually work. So it's kind of a excuse for dirty milk being made into cheese. So when you got clean milk, you don't have to do that. And you age it 60 days. There's all kinds of stuff you do there, but the pH is low, the moisture is low, the aging 60 days. So it's interesting. Raw milk cheeses aged 60 days are legal under the FDA code. However, strongly discouraged by the FDA. Dr. Walker of the FDA had a big Zoom call with us back in April saying, of all the raw cheeses, the 300 samples of raw cheeses we've got across producers in America, 300 samples, you're the only one that wasn't thermalized. You're a treasure trove of information about truly raw cheese, of what actually happens when you produce cheese that hasn't been thermalized or processed. So that's why our cheese is just flying off the shelves, $100,000 a week going into Texas alone. So it's really a powerful thing that people really want, this unprocessed whole natural foods. And the FDA is really not an advocate for it. They may say it a little bit on the side, but they're not really because policies say otherwise.
Yeah. Do you see that changing, in 10 years even or so, due to demand, due to changes in policies, of course, that take time? Is your kind of vision of the dairy farm that it completely evolves and basically, like you said, break up into two? You have conventional farming and all that, pasteurized, and then you have your other raw. You make the choice. They're both kind of, defined in their own ways of doing it. Is that where you see things going next 10
I
years?
do, because
Yeah.
that's why I see it happening, already happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know when, sometime soon in the next generation,
Hmm.
there should be an FDA, an NIH, a CDC, which sees the light based on the growth of the market. The market will be undeniable. There'll be professors teaching this. We already do have professors teaching this. Rutgers, Dr. Joseph Heckman, others are teaching this already. We have professors within the Raw Milk Institute that are certified dairymen themselves producing raw milk that are professors at universities doing this. So when you do that for a period of time and you grow the market, you grow the educational base, and people know what phony is and what wrong is, and they want right, and the markets spell it out clearly. There's nothing more clear than dollar voting to say we don't want you and we want this. Dollar voting is a very clear direction of what people want. So when you built the market so big and so profound, there will be leadership that comes in and says, I'm not going to deny that. I'm going to ride that, right? So
Hmm.
I do believe in the next 5, 10, 20 years, I don't know, it'll be very interesting on how that goes. If Gavin Newsom is the next president, well, he's been the governor of California, and raw milk is a major part of his back pocket. So I don't know. I simply have no idea.
Yeah.
But I do know that Bobby's a friend of raw milk. He's sitting in a very powerful place. And if he hears what I'm saying, I think we should have a guidance from the FDA to stop the chaos. People are getting sick from the chaos.
That's
Not
right.
sick of the chaos, they're sick from the chaos because you've got people that don't know what they're doing producing raw milk. And that is not something we should be doing or encouraging. And I think that recognizing the fact that we should do no harm, we should actually encourage good, is a very important next step. And the FDA could take a very good leadership position. And I think they could win a lot of hearts, minds, and souls right now on this if they would do that.
And a lot of trust, right?
Yes,
I feel
yes,
like these institutions need to gain their trust back.
100%.
They haven't had a great track record the last 4 or 5 years, and they
No.
could deal with a little honesty and trustworthiness there in the ways they do it. I wanted to ask you about this because I've seen things between raw cow milk and raw goat milk. What's the difference there? Because obviously you have people on both sides saying that one's better than the other, but do you have any opinion on the two?
There are 9 times more goats in the world than there are cows.
Oh, wow. Did
A
not
lot
know
of
that.
goats. Goats have 2 tits and we got 2 hands. It's kind of an interesting Mother Nature's combination there. The goats will eat anything.
Yeah.
They live in all kinds of conditions. They're different kinds of goats. Their butterfat globules are about 1/3 the size of the cow's milk butterfat globules. Therefore, the butterfat seems to be like self-homogenized. The butterfat commingles together in the milk and doesn't tend to separate, although it will over time. It's different. The flavor's a little different. Some people prefer raw milk. Some people grew up on goat's milk, love goat's milk. As far as the different kinds of proteins and stuff, there's slight differences here and there, but very similar. So it's up to you. Whatever
Yeah.
you like, it's up to you. It's completely up
Yeah,
to you.
I've heard the taste of raw cow's milk is much more flavorful, and sometimes the goat's a little bit grassier to it, they say. I
Yeah.
myself have picked up on it. I like both, but I mean, it
Well,
really is tomato, tomato.
some goats, yeah, tomato, tomato. Some goats have a more gamey type of goaty flavor based on the breeding practices with bucks with the dams. Other ones don't. It's very much breed by breed. But yeah, it's up to you as a consumer.